It's the spooky month, so we're gonna talk about something Redditors think is the spookiest. Double sneak attack. And I know how to pull it off pretty consistently. That means Rogue doubles their damage. Welcome to Pack Tactics, where we frighten people. We're gonna start off by reading Sneak Attack itself. It says, you know how to strike suddenly and exploit a foe's distraction. Once per turn, you can deal an extra 1d6 damage to one creature you hit with an attack roll, if you have advantage on the roll and the attack uses a finesse or a ranged weapon. The extra damage type is the same as the weapon's type. You don't need advantage on the attack roll if at least one of your allies is within 5 feet of the target. The ally doesn't have the incapacitated condition, and you don't have disadvantage on the attack roll. The extra damage increases as you gain rogue levels, as shown in the sneak attack column. Just in case you're brand new to the game, let me just break this down for you. You can sneak attack with all of these weapons. Here is the list. Now keep in mind, you might not have proficiency in some of these weapons, but if you do, you can sneak attack with them. Now, to activate sneak attack, the easiest way is for your friend to move within 5 feet of the enemy like this. Now, every time I hit the enemy, sneak attack triggers. Melee players are basically your best friends because they make you better. If you have disadvantage to your attacks, like the poison condition, then sneak attack won't work, even using this method. The second method to trigger sneak attack is just to have advantage on your attacks, like from steady aim, for example. You get that at level 3. That's everything. You now know how to play a rogue. Now it's time to corrupt you with double sneak attack. In sneak attack, it says once per turn, not once per round. Your turn and the enemy's turn are 2 different turns. When everyone has taken a turn, that's a full round. That's how fights work. Anyways, I'll bring up the 4 old methods to trigger sneak attack first, because they're still valid. There are more methods now, but we'll talk about them later. At endgame, it's also possible to trigger it 4 times in a row in 1 round. If the wizard really loves you, then you could do it 8 times in a row. What the heck? Kobold, this video's scary! How are you doing it 8 times? I'll tell you at the end of the video. For ease, I'm always going to assume there's a melee marshal at the front to help you sneak attack consistently. Now, let us begin. First method, this is a classic that everybody knows. Cast haste on the rogue. Haste says it gains an additional action on each of its turns. That action can be used to take only the attack, 1 attack only. The rogue also gets double speed, +2 AC, advantage on dexterity saving throws, blah blah blah. This is how you trigger double sneak attack. You attack with your hasted action on your turn, then with your normal action you use ready action instead, which lets you attack by taking a reaction before the start of your next turn. You end your turn, then it's somebody else's turn. You can then reaction attack, and that will trigger the double sneak attack. Now, of course, you need to come up with a trigger, but coming up with a trigger there and then is really easy. I attack when my friend attacks. The problem with this method is you need a caster to buff you, but casters usually have better options that are more powerful, like Hypnotic Pattern. You could try to multi-class to get haste yourself, but you'll be put in the same boat as the other casters. You have better options. Like if you see 5 targets and you can fireball them, that's over 100 damage total. And that's damage done right now. It's not like a build-up with haste. Also, haste is super duper dangerous to cast on yourself. Not only does it take an action to set up, but if you lose concentration, then you become incapacitated with 0 speed on your turn. That's devastating. So in my opinion, haste sucks. If you have a potion of speed, that's a completely different story. If you get that feature that lets you sneak attack 4 or 8 times, then haste can be crazy. But that's endgame stuff. At that point, casters can put people into microwaves. So they might not do it every time, but it's definitely a cheap option. Second way is a lot simpler. It happens sometimes. Opportunity attack. It says you can make an opportunity attack when a creature that you can see leaves your reach. To make the attack, take a reaction to make 1 melee attack with a weapon or an unarmed strike against that creature. The attack occurs right before it leaves your reach. It's straightforward, doesn't trigger often. The third way is my favorite method. Command's Flee triggers opportunity attacks and forces the enemy to move and take the dash action on their turn. Avoiding opportunity attack says you also don't provoke an opportunity attack when you teleport or when you are moved without using your movement action, bonus action, or reaction. They are using their movement and action on their turn. If you want a deeper breakdown on command, I made a 15-minute long video about it. Link in the description. You can actually do a ton more powerful stuff with command flee. Anyways, the fourth method is someone casts Dissonant Whispers on the enemy. It's like command, but the creature uses its own reaction to move immediately. That triggers opportunity attacks. For more details, check out the same command video I talked about before. That's all the old stuff. It's not very consistent unless you're hasted, but like I said before, casters usually have better things to do, so this becomes like a wah-wah scenario. But I actually have really good news for you. There's hope in the 2024 book. But before we get into that, it's time to be real. Kobold plushie is on sale right now. I'll help you optimize and charm people with my cute looks. I have 20 charisma and a few charm spells. Hypnotic pattern goes hard. I'm also a really good listener with my big ears, so I'll take session notes for you. That's optimal. Seriously though, we need to sell 7 of my kind. That way we reach our goal, which means the project was successful. That also means that the plushies will be produced earlier. Then everybody who ordered are gonna get them by November or December. Maybe even earlier, who knows? How exciting, I make for an optimal Christmas present. So what are you waiting for? Buy me, I'll join your D&D sessions and have a good time. I like to party. Back to the video. There's a thief who made out like a bandit when it came to sneak attacks. It's called Thief. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like the default option. They get a feature at level 3 called Fast Hands. It says, as a bonus action, use an object. Take the utilize action or take the magic action to use a magic item that requires that action. I already made a video about Thief explaining why it's super good, especially with scrolls and magic items, but I never talked about sneak attack itself or how to make it better. In general, I care more about the AoE damage and control behind it, because that's what I value the most. And I thought I could make the sneak attack thing a separate video. To summarize the relevant parts here, with a spellcaster level, you can use scrolls. Cantrips and first level scrolls are now in adventuring gear and they're cheap. First level scrolls are 50 gold a pop. Cantrips are 25. Something I forgot to mention is in services for spellcasting. It says, most settlements contain individuals who are willing to cast spells in exchange for payment. Then you see the list. Cantrips and first level spells are available at villages, towns, or cities. You can meet with these people and buy scrolls off them, or you can get them to make scrolls for you. What scrolls do you think are the best for sneak attack? Command and True Strike scrolls. For command, walk into melee with your skimmy and attack twice. You have neck. Yeah, I call them skimmies because I grew up playing RuneScape. That was my childhood game. Anyways, after your attack, you bonus action use command scroll and tell them to flee. If they fail, you make an opportunity attack on their turn. And if that hits, that's double sneak attack. Now, of course, there's a risk here. You're a rogue staying in melee. You can't bonus action disengage if the scroll fails. But if you have a mount like a riding horse, it can disengage for you for free without taking any of your actions. By the way, for extra oomph behind that opportunity attack, if you have Warcaster, you can replace that attack with a spell, and that can be Booming Blade. Yes, Booming Blade works with sneak attack. This will also trigger other party members' opportunity attack, of course. So not only are you boosting your damage, but also everyone in the parties. You will wreck single targets and waste their whole turn at the same time. No one is immune to command. But Kobold, the scrolls you buy at the store are set to DC 13. True, if you're fighting someone with a 75% success chance, then the command scrolls are bad. But if you have your own scribed command scrolls, then it's tied to your DC, which is good. That's assuming you have at least 16 in the spellcasting stats. 16 actually scales pretty well. Scribing scrolls takes 8 hours though. Yes, downtime makes you more powerful, obviously. You could probably scribe 2 first level scrolls in 1 day of downtime. That's 26 hours of work, and then you long rest for 8 hours. That's a full day, 24 hours. You only spend 50 gold doing that. If you go elf, you get trance, and can scribe these scrolls even quicker. Elf only needs 4 hours to sleep. When you wake up, you immediately scribe scrolls, while the party is still asleep. That makes it so the first level scroll is already halfway finished. Finishing the scroll from there is pretty easy. Oh, the party needs to short rest because of the warlock or some marshal. Scribing scrolls counts as a light activity, so you shave off another hour. You're traveling by cart? Okay, sit in the cart and scribe scrolls. And lastly, at the end of the adventuring day, you could stay up for a few hours and then go to bed. You're an elf, that's no problem. You're gonna get that long rest. You're also gonna get that first level scroll. Anyways, let's move on to True Strike. This is another great option, and it's actually a lot safer for you than Command. But Command, in my opinion, is a lot better due to the control and the damage potential. Here's what True Strike says. Cantrip, action use. Guided by a flash of magical insight, you make one attack with the weapon used in the spell's casting. The attack uses your spellcasting ability for the attack and damage rolls instead of using strength or dexterity. If the attack deals damage, it can be radiant damage or the weapon's normal damage type, your choice. Cantrip upgrade. Whenever you deal radiant damage or the weapon's normal damage type, the attack deals extra radiant damage when you reach level 5, 11, and 17. It's 1d6, 2d6, 3d6. This cantrip works with ranged weapons and triggers sneak attack. So you can bonus action use a scroll and shoot with your longbow. Then you ready action shoot with your longbow off your turn. If everything hits, double sneak attack. These scrolls are cheaper at the store too. They're 25 gold, and if you scribe them, it's 15. It still takes 8 hours to scribe them though, but anyways. I recommend scribing command scrolls more because more damage and control. But hey, it's your character, you can do whatever you want. There's actually more methods out there, but I think Command and True Strike are the best ones. Fast Hands doesn't have a number of uses. The resources are really just tied to your gold. If you have 20 command scrolls, that's 20 times you can attempt to double sneak attack. You don't have to rely on anybody casting haste on you or anything. Well, I mean, you're a rogue. You still need somebody to stand within 5 feet of the enemy. That way you get consistent sneak attack. But that's very easy to achieve at most tables. You do have to rely on some DM fiat, but every marshal in the game does that anyway, so I don't think it's that big of a deal unless you're playing something like Curse of Strahd. In a gritty realism game, you're literally the best. You're printing scrolls.
Kobold, you forgot about War Cleric!
Oh yeah, 3 levels in War Cleric gets you War Priest, which is a dry bonus action attack. You can use this a number of times equal to your Wisdom mod, and it's a short rest resource. So if you have a scroll problem where you're constantly out of them or just can't afford it, investing into this might be a good idea. That way you can bonus action attack through War Priest instead and ready action from there. You also get Prayer of Healing at this level, so you can short rest for 10 minutes once every long rest. That helps with your War Priest feature and a ton of other classes like Warlock. If there's 2 Warlocks in the party, then I'm automatically going Cleric. Anyways, let's finish it off by sneak attacking 4 times in a round consistently. It's actually not that scary. You need 17 levels in Thief to do this. So casters have 9th level spells. The feature is called Thief's Reflexes. It says, you are adept at laying ambushes and quickly escaping danger. You can take 2 turns during the first round of any combat. You take your turn at your normal initiative, and your second turn at your initiative minus 10. Let's do some napkin mathematics with just sneak attack alone. I'll account for crit and accuracy. So 65% chance to hit equals 88.2 DPR. It's technically higher if we account for the weapon and cantrips and bada. With a simulacrum, it's 176.4 DPR. That's a lot of single target damage. Anyways, congratulations. You now know how to double sneak attack consistently. End of video. Now go out there and kill everything. I hope I earned a like, comment, and maybe a subscription. I also hope you'll check out the plushie. 7 more orders and we reach our goal. This bold is adorable old. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.